Welcome to Alumni Appreciation Weekend, where we have the Prairie Fire taking on the Foresters of Lake Forest College. At this time, I'm excited to welcome Jarrelyn McCall, a 2020 graduate of Knox, a four-time All-Midwest Conference selection, #1 in single-season scoring, as well as the all-time leading scorer in our women's basketball history on air with us. In addition to her on-court success, was equally successful in the classroom, earning her degree in physics and becoming the first African-American woman in Knox history to do so. Jarrelyn, it's a pleasure to have you on. Welcome, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Well, Jarrelyn, the first question that I have for you here this afternoon, if you don't mind sharing with us, what is your post-Knox basketball career had in store for you? What are you doing now?
I mean, post-Knox has been bananas. I mean, not even just post-Knox for me, but just this whole world. Of course, you know, with COVID going on, it has been crazy, but I wouldn't trade everything that's happened to me post-Knox. I wouldn't trade it for the world. But, you know, graduating in the midst of a pandemic was definitely not what I envisioned for undergrad, but, you know, you have to roll with the punches. But I was kind of stuck initially because I wanted to gain more experience in my field to ensure it's what I actually want to do in my life. Because, you know, you don't want to, you know, you have those careers growing up. We're like, I want to do this, I want to do that. And you actually do it. It's kind of like, this is kind of boring. Doesn't really fit me. It looks better on paper. So I want to actually get out there and do like something similar to what I was going to be doing or what I envisioned doing the rest of my life, so I could see if I actually wanted to do it. So that being known, I didn't want to go to grad school initially because I was like, I don't want to go to grad school and get a degree in this and I don't actually want to do it. Like that's if I want to go and get a degree in something I actually want to do. So and then, you know, I got that on one side, and then of course I had offers to go overseas and play basketball, which was a tough decision in itself because I'm a very family oriented person, and so if I go off to the UK, there's no telling when I'm just going to make it back. And I didn't really like the idea of that, nor did I like the idea of starting a professional career in the midst of a pandemic. I'm like, I don't know if I'm really with that. So that was a tough decision in itself, but I decided that wasn't the route for me. So I eventually found myself in Savannah, Georgia, and for a while. And when I finally got the break that I had been in the process of working towards for about a year, which is what I do now. So I currently work for TAKEM, which is under the Army umbrella, AKA the Department of Defense, AKA the government. So to put it broadly, I work for the government as a training specialist, and I currently reside in Michigan. So yeah, that's pretty much what I do right now post-Knox.
That's so cool. Thank you for sharing. I guess, and to kind of take a step back a little bit, you know, talk to us about how your Knox basketball experience kind of helped lead you into what you're doing, how it helps guide you into those decisions, and, you know, maybe some skills that you use that you developed during your career that really allow you to be successful now.
Yeah, so I would say definitely my teammates while I was at Knox, and also the assistant coaches, they know that Knox was not a straight path for me. And everybody knows that improvement or growth is never a linear slope. It's never you're gonna go up this much this year. It's always going to be a little curvy line where it's going to have bumps and bruises. Then you might shoot up and then you might come back down. Everybody knows that. So with that being said, Knox definitely taught me how to be steadfast. It taught me how to trust the process. And most importantly, it showed me who I was as a person when I was there. And because of that, that helped me to actually shape who I am now and who I want to continually strive to be. So, of course, like I said, my time at Knox was definitely not all sunshine and rainbows, as it shouldn't be. Like it shouldn't be easy. There should be some trials. There should be some tribulations. But all those things, with of course many other things that I mentioned earlier, showed me everything is a process. And just like the process I am in now, I'm currently not using my degree. I'm not, you know, I graduated with a degree in physics. It's not being used right now, but the job that I am now, it's a stepping stone towards the next step in the pursuit of my graduate degree / my dream job. So where I am now, me being steadfast where I am now, me trusting the process where I am now is eventually going to lead me to where I strive to be. And Knox has taught me how to not be complacent, not worry about where I am now, just know that where I am now will contribute to where I am later. And playing at Knox interacting with who I interacted with at Knox, encountering who I encountered in Knox has taught me how to steadfast and all those things, which is translated into what I'm currently doing right now.
Jarrelyn, I love that. That was very well said. And I think much like you mentioned, having those experiences and just, having that innate feeling that everything is going to be okay, everything's going to work out. You're just going to keep going and moving forward and using those skills. That's so important. So, other thing I wanted to touch on during our time here today, talking a little bit more about Knox basketball too. If you had to pick out one memory from your playing career that has stuck out to you the most, what would it be and why, of course?
Whew, that is a good one. There was a lot of things that happened, and that's why I was there. A lot of history being made over the 4 years I was there. I got to, of course, I got to play with a lot of different great players, and Carly Thorne, Talia Ellis, Kira Huffman, Naja Woods, Morgan Potter, Haley Leinert. I got to play with some absolute dogs, and they all those people plus many more. They've definitely help make a lot of memories while I was there. Of course, I could say the making it to the Midwest tournament after 20 years. I could say that. I could say my 1,000-point game. I could say getting to the Midwest tournament, losing by 1 to Cornell my sophomore year. I believe that was my sophomore year. And then, of course, getting back and then losing the Ripon. I mean, I could say all those things. And, of course, most people would expect me to say breaking the record. And I am going to say that, but not for the reason a lot of people think I would say. I wouldn't say breaking the record because I actually broke the record. One, I knew my Coach Clausen, going into my senior year, Coach Clausen told me how far away. No, it was not Coach Clausen. It was James Clark. James Clark told me how far away I was from the record. And so I had that in the back of my mind. I wasn't really focused on that. I was just really focused on having a great senior season. And then I should have knew, because the week of, Coach Clausen told me, he asked me if my parents were coming to the game. And I said, no, because, I'm from Arkansas. So anytime my parents come, it's an 8-hour drive. And it was a game during the week. And I was like, my parents work during the week. No, they're not coming during the week, of course. So I didn't think anything of it still. And so I didn't know how far away I was from the record at all. I didn't want to know, because when I got my 1,000th career point, I knew how far away I was. And it seems like I was begging for a basket. So I was throwing the ball outside the backboard, just trying to get the ball in. And I didn't want that same feeling. And I had just so happened to be around a group of people a Saturday night, and somebody told me that I was 4 points away. And I was like, why would you tell me that? Why would you literally tell me that? But I would say, the breaking the record was my favorite memory because of how heavy that day was. That day, it was my grandpa's birthday. So I was already on edge about that. I lost my grandpa in 2010. And so anytime his birthday comes around, it's always a special day for me. I try to honor him any type of way I can. So breaking the record on his birthday was just the icing on the cake. It also was against our rivalry Monmouth. So why not be had a little exclamation mark in the face, I broke it against you. We also were wearing the pink jerseys, you know what I'm saying? I broke it in swag. And then, last but not least, it was the second time that my parents had surprised me. They had surprised me for my 1,000-point game, which again, shout out to Coach Clausen. Christopher Clausen is no longer at Knox, but huge shout out to him, because I knew he was the one that was communicating with my parents how far away I was from the record. Because I did not tell my parents about the 1,000-point game. They showed up and surprised me, and they were ducking people, they had to go to Walmart and stuff. So they had seen Carly Thorne, so they're trying to duck her, make sure she didn't tell her. Literally nobody knew but them, and probably Coach Clausen knew that they were coming. So they surprised me then, and then they also popped up and surprised me for the record-breaking game. And so that whole day, it had a lot in it. So I would say that was definitely my favorite memory, because my parents were there. Like I said, I broke it against Monmouth. I was wearing the pink jersey, so I did it in swag. And then, of course, it was my grandpa's birthday. So no better way to honor him by breaking the record. It was my dad's dad. So also having my dad in the stands watching me do that on his father's birthday, I think it meant a lot to him too. So there was a lot of things that day was heavy, but it will most definitely be the most memorable because of all those different things that it held.
That's so awesome. And that sounds like one heck of a day, to say the least. I mean, much like you mentioned, there's so many layers that are added onto it. And then you have the surprise of your parents coming into town, not really knowing about it, and not really keeping in the back of your mind, like, oh yeah, you know, the record's coming up, not really sure where I am. And I think that's really smart, because I think that would have added, you know, a lot of anxiety throughout the season, being a
Yes.
competitor,
Yes.
and wondering, you know, when is it going to happen? So no, that is definitely something that'll stick with you for the rest of your life. And I am very complimentary of you, and that is very it's just a huge accomplishment. And so congratulations on that, Jarrelyn. So the last question I have for us during our time here today, you know, last but not least, what is your biggest piece of advice to today's Knox basketball players? If you had to leave them with one thing, what would it be?
Oh, that one's easy. To know me is to know I say this all of the time. I would say use basketball, don't let it use you. That would be my number one thing to tell them, because for me, basketball has always been my plan B. My parents raised me to always put education first, and I've never lost sight of that. But with that being said, there has been so many opportunities and options that for me that have come through the basketball world. The job that I'm currently in right now, that connection came from the basketball world. So if you use basketball as your tool, the world of opportunities that it can open up is literally unreal. And I would say also say start early with it. Don't wait until your last year of college or your last that's the last resort. Don't wait until that last point before you try to start using basketball as your tool. Use it as your tool early. And network, get your name out there and let it be known what type of weight your name holds in a non-hooping capacity. Of course, you know, sprinkling some little hooping stats in there along the way, but let people know what you can do and who you are outside of those four lines, and you'll be surprised where it can take you. So yeah, I would definitely say, if I could say to anybody in the basketball world, use basketball as your tool. Do not let it use you.
I love that. I love that. Very well said. Well, Jarrelyn, it was great to have you on. We're so fortunate that you were able to join us. Thank you. Nate, I'll turn it back over to you to take us back to the action in Memorial Gym.
All righty, go Fire.